Hello friends, when we talk of Japan, we immediately remember a delicious food dish of sushi, or we may remember Suzuki or Mitsubishi. But India-Japan ties are much deeper and wider than food and automobile. They have been and even continue to be connected through the economy, the investments, the trade and the loans also. In July 24, Reserve Bank of India made a quick mention of India's external debt. This external debt of India refers to the loans taken by the union government, the state governments and the corporate world of India from foreign countries in foreign currencies, including the foreign banks, foreign governments or international financial institutions. And the figure of India's external debt amounted to $663.8 billion. No doubt a very big amount. And needless to say that half of that is in US dollars. That is very obvious because US dollar is a currency which is mostly accepted, commonly used in international trade and finance. This global trust in dollars lends stability and predictability to the transactions. Secondly, the loan in dollars is comparatively cheap and we get this loan at a lesser interest rate as compared to Indian interest rates. However, in last few years, we in India, that is union government, state government and corporates, have been borrowing in Japanese yen on a very large scale. Here are few examples. In December 23, union government obtained a very big loan of $250 million from Asian Development Bank for Delhi Meerut Regional Rapid Transit System project. The Tamil Nadu government scored big in April 24 with $300 million loan from World Bank to upgrade its urban water and sanitation services. Apart from central and state governments, friends, major companies like JSW Steel, REC, Power Finance Corporation, HUDCO, NTPC have taken loans on a very large scale, and all these loans are in the form of Japanese yen. Now the question is, why Indian borrowing is in Japanese yen? Well, we know that when it comes to raising the loans, both governments and corporations critically evaluate the cost of borrowing. If they can borrow at low interest rates, and secondly, if the currency keeps losing its value, then one can assume that that is the proper currency for borrowing. When you borrow in yen, it means that the denomination of the loan is in yen, the interest is to be paid in yen, and repayment also is to be made in yen. Now let us understand the facts about this yen as a currency. Well, in 2012, Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was re-elected, and in order to overcome the recession and also the impact of earthquake and tsunami in 2011, he started reforms. And as a part of reform, he asked the central bank, Bank of Japan, to issue more currency, and that more currency was of the tune of 60 to 70 trillion yen. So ample currency was in circulation. And secondly, the interest rates were cut to zero or even at negative rates. This all resulted into lending of more money by Japanese banks. The Japanese banks were ready to lend even at the interest rate of 1% or 1.5%. Secondly, the people borrowed money in yen and invested that money outside Japan in other currencies to yield more returns. This is technically called as carry trade. Between 2021 and 24, the yen lost 1/3 of its value. In other words, the exchange rate of yen went on coming down and down. By mid-24, the yen had hit a 34-year low against the dollar. Now one can understand how the borrowing in yen is beneficial, because the rate of interest is almost at 1 to 2%. Second, the loan is to be repaid in yen and the value of yen is diminishing. The US dollar loan is available between 5 to 6% interest rate, whereas the yen loan is available between 1 and 2%. Now imagine if you secure a loan of 1 billion yen in the beginning of 2023, considering the rate of exchange that time, this 1 billion yen means 67 crores of rupees. Now in 24, the rate of exchange of yen and rupee is 0.55. That means that 1 billion yen loan, if it all to be repaid, you will have to pay only 55 crores of rupees as against 67 crores of rupees that you borrowed in the beginning of 23. So merely devaluation of yen could save you 12 crores of rupees out of 67 crores of rupees loan raised. In other words, the borrowing gives you two types of benefits. One is less interest rate, and second is less amount required to be paid for repayment of the loan because of devaluation of yen. So if you borrow for a long period of time, then the maturity is also far away and the devaluation will give you more and more benefits. And the benefit has been taken by borrowing in yen on one hand and investing that yen borrowed money in other currency assets. Well, this is good so far, but will it continue in days to come? On March 19, the Japanese Central Bank for the first time hiked interest rates after a long gap of few years to 0.1%. So this is how the rate of interest has gone up. But to what extent? 0.1%. Again, Bank of Japan increased this interest rate by 15 basis points and the rate has come up to 0.25% in the last week. So even if the rate of interest has gone up, the rate of interest is still less than 1%, which is far less as compared to the loans available in the market from other countries and in other currencies. But this increase in the interest rate has not resulted into appreciation of yen to much extent. But this is an indication that the microeconomic situation of Japan is changing, and the changes are dramatic. The first change, as we have seen, is they have ended negative interest rate experiment. The inflation in Japan has shown up once again. Thirdly, equity have started rising. And lastly, the corporate governance has been finally revamped. With these four changes, it is likely that depreciation of yen may come to an halt. One cannot think of appreciation of yen immediately, but probably the depreciation may stop, and if that stops, the major benefit of the devaluation of currency and thereby paying less amount in rupees, this benefit will go. Hence, even though today borrowing in Japanese yen is beneficial because the rate of interest is much less, still the benefit of devaluation of currency at the time of repayment of loan may not be available as it was available to the extent so far. So the borrowers have to be cautious, think about the changes, and then decide whether to continue in borrowing in yen. Today it is beneficial, no doubt. That's all. Thank you very much.